Welcome, folks, to this Super Metroid Any Tournament Round 1 brought to you by Vi.gg. My name's Thero, hanging out with Kurojin Ryu today, our resident game expert, as this is going to be a special showing just for me. How you doing today, Kuro?
I'm doing fine. I'm just a little tired. Woke up, about 30 minutes ago. Otherwise, pretty good.
Hey, so we already know that you're going to be on your A game for this excellent race.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Speaking of being on your A game, make sure you check out our sponsor for this event, Vi.gg, where you can bet on the outcomes of these races that are coming up. Sponsoring multiple tournaments today, Vi.gg. All you have to do is hit !bet or hit that panel down below the stream, given a special offer just for GSA folks. Click on that as long as you're of legal betting age and you're available to bet within your country. Check them out, doing really good things, donating towards the prize pool, along with, I don't know if the viewers out there knew this, any of your cheers, your subs, your donations, all of that goes straight towards the prize pool as well. Looks like we are getting started here. Now, Super Metroid, a different game for me. We're going to get our runners synced up here for the viewers. Kuro, I know the runners were talking about before this run separate routes. Could you go into that just a little bit?
I'm not really entirely sure. I have some game knowledge of this. It's just I don't really have enough time to watch a lot of Metroid. I know certain, like, you can get Ice Beam early, skip a couple of health tanks, which is more riskier, but it does save a lot more time. But you have more chances to die if you do that.
Now, the routes that we're talking about, you have PRKD, which is Phantoon, Ridley, Kraid, and Dragoon. And then you have the KPDR, the Kraid, Phantoon, Dragoon, and Ridley. They vary roughly by around 2 minutes in real time, but one is much more difficult, much more risky. Really excited to see what ARealCutie and robitalion have to bring to this fight today.
If you didn't pay attention there, Thero, what they did there was they dropped their health quicker to below 30, because if you stay there and fight Ridley, it actually wastes a lot more time. So it's best to get behind him, take as much damage as you can, and get in front of that door as soon as Ridley starts to move. Exactly.
You know, I find it interesting watching 2D platformers. It's phenomenal how optimized it is, being frame perfect. Now, I know jumping up the wall here in Super Metroid is a little bit different. There's a couple of schools of thought. There's the ledge grab method, which we'll see here shortly going into the climb. And then you've got where you're almost jumping against the wall to catch the wall and jump up as well.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool, but it's also a little finicky. If you can see Samus see her about to push up the wall, but if you don't press it just in time, you literally just fall straight down.
Well, now the world record for this is 41:18, currently held by Behemoth. Both of these runners coming in today, ARealCutie with a PB of 44:18 and robitalion with a 43:53. We could possibly see a PB here in this race today.
That'd be awesome.
All right, we're getting started here, synced up, and that's why I like these 2D platformers. You know, being a SM64 runner and watching a lot of Zelda runs, it seems, you're more counting the milliseconds in these 2D platformers versus Super Mario 64, where you're focused more on lining up cameras, strats, things like that. I'm kind of interested in seeing
you saw
what
there
we
he
have
lost
happen.
a little time. I'm sorry to talk over you, but my bad.
It's all good. ARealCutie, yeah, losing some time there.
Yeah, he didn't get his jumps right and hit the little bars at the bottom and fell a couple times.
Grabbing that morphing ball, robitalion got just a little bit ahead there. Pretty exciting stuff, though. Vi.gg bringing up brand new tournaments to GSA here on twitch.tv/speedrun. Seeing Super Metroid for the first time. The first race was, I believe, ran yesterday. If you want to check out the bracket, all you have to do is hit !bracket, click on that bracket and see what's going on currently in round one. yesterday, I believe. Lynx Unlimited took that W to head into round 2. This is a double elimination tournament, so Insane Firebat, who lost that round, is still in it in the losers bracket, trying to keep the action going here at GSA.
Now we're going back up the elevator, which is where you're going to see these long wall jumps all the way up. If they do it correctly, it looks really smooth and it's pretty cool.
Looks like a real cutie gaining a little time here. This is the right side that we talked about, both runners electing to do that, which is kind of the newer method from what I understand. The older school of thought is doing more of the ledge grab straight up.
And just
robitalion
like
having a little issue.
Took the lead.
robitalion falling down a little bit. A real cutie pushing upwards through the climb. Now, I loved this game as a kid. Super challenging game. I don't even know if I ever beat it, to be honest. I don't. I know that you were that excellent connoisseur, spending days upon weeks upon months beating these SNES games. I was that ADD kid who had to have 8,000 SNES games. So, kind of explain, walk us through what's going on here.
What they're trying to do is, like, if they're trying to get right underneath, I forget the boss's name. It's a Chozo statue boss. You see its stomach's glowing. That's its weak point, and they're trying to get there to use their rockets on it, do as much damage as possible, and kill the boss as quickly as possible to get out of this room after they get the little bombs. Otherwise, they waste time trying to fight it. Because it does these stupid, crazy moves.
I know it's a mixture of equipment, ammo, inventory. There's a lot that goes into these speed runs. A real cutie lagging a little bit behind on that bomb there. Super interesting watching. Metroid Prime was probably the first real Metroid game that I got into, being that 3D side. So it's interesting to go back and see and watch what has happened with this game over the years. Almost synced up here at this point.
Another thing, if you didn't notice why they're flipping their cannon up and down, is that actually saves frames every time they do that when they're running.
In a platformer like this, every millisecond counts. I truly enjoy watching Metroid and Samus. Quite frankly, a little bit different in Smash Brothers, but enjoy watching the finesse that comes from running this game. A real cutie grabbing that super missile just frames before robitalion. So I assume, just like Metroid Prime, you have to shoot the door to be able to get it open. Is there a reason why they use a particular ammo over another to get those doors open?
Yes, depending on the color ammo, if it is like blue ones or regular doors, was used with any plasma shot. Red or regular missiles, I believe you can also use one super missile to open those. Yellow are for power bombs, and I believe that's all the door colors. Correct. That's the gimmick they use to lock you out of areas in the game, so you can have to explore to find what you need to get out there and explore the game.
That's fair. Both runners on a decent pace starting out here. I'm pretty sure we're going to look at, a 45, 46-minute run for both of these runners today. As long as we keep on pace that we're going right now. Real Cutie struggling to get through that little pathway. Now, as we saw and we talked about earlier, all of the different events that are going on through GSA right now, this is one of them, the GSA first ever Super Metroid Tournament. Right now, we have the 70-star tournament, which has worked more in a group setting, kind of coming out of the groups now. The Super Mario Odyssey Any % tournament, which is going up. If you want to check that out, hit !schedule. It's action-packed throughout the week. Anything that you could ever want to watch is happening right here on twitch.tv/speedrun. So be sure to check that out. Now, as a kid, and I want you to be perfectly honest with me, when you were going through this game, there's no way you memorized all these caverns. Did you have that sheet of paper next to you, kind of drawing out a map for yourself?
No, I actually pressed start a whole bunch.
A whole bunch.
Then I'm like, all right, where am I here? Like, I need to get down here. All right, press start and look. And then eventually I just memorized the whole game.
Because the map up in the top right there is incredibly tiny, only 5 by 3 little blocks. So trying to understand where you're going has to be difficult in a casual playthrough.
Yes, it was. You get lost a lot. And right now we're coming actually to raid, or Ridley, I mean. And let's see if he gets the super kill with the super bombs. I'm not sure. I think it takes all his ammo to do this, but he can kill him as soon as he opens his mouth, if he does it correctly. And there it is, a quick kill.
Wow, pretty interesting.
And because of that, the camera actually stays there, so they got to know exactly where the door is as they run across.
For sure.
And now I'm gonna get the virus suit, so he'll be heading down to North Fair in a bit.
Now, we talked about the variance in the different routes that are going on, and I think that's where we kind of see the split here.
Yeah,
Um,
I believe Robitalion is going after Platoon. He's a crazy boss. If he's not close, or I'm losing my words. If he's not ready for this, he could die here, because this boss is no joke with low health.
because we wouldn't see these routes converge back until Mother Brain 2, after Mother Brain 2 is dead. But ARealCutie going to end up going into that with a lot stronger equipment.
And here's Robitalion with a Platoon boss. Let's see if he gets him.
Now, super interesting. Now, kind of explain this fight a little bit as it's going on.
It's mostly RNG based of where he's gonna teleport and how many times he's gonna shoot all that fire around. So basically, they're trying to shoot him in the eye. Most of the time, they have the charge beam. I think the spades to do an X Factor move, which does even more damage. But I really haven't seen this route, and he killed him. There he goes. All right, no deaths.
Awesome.
We're good. It's the run. Yeah, I gotta watch more Metroid for this, but yeah, this part on low percent is very, very dangerous depending on what the boss wants to do, and it's all RNG based. How many times he's gonna sit there, teleport, shoot all that fire.
Fun fact, I just learned this in the last stream that we had going on earlier in the day. Did you know that by singing Ocean Man repeatedly, you can actually affect RNG in any game that you play? Have you heard that?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it done. Maybe the chat can start spamming Ocean's. What was it? Ocean. What?
Ocean Man.
Ocean Man. Maybe if you start typing that, you might get the run as a good RNG.
Affecting that RNG, that myth, we're going to have to test that out later with one of the other matches going on.
Another thing you haven't noticed, when they take damage like that and they face away, it actually gives them a damage boost to shoot them faster towards where they want to go, just like to get to that door.
Super interesting. Now, and I don't know if you'd be able to answer this question. Is this typically run on an SNES, or is it run with
I
emulation?
believe it is run on SNES.
Alrighty.
One of the few games like this that are run on the original console. Actually, a lot of Super Nintendo games are run on the original console because of the frame lag difference in the 60 hertz refresh on old CRT TVs.
And I know that we've seen that specifically with like Super Mario World, where they have so many categories. A lot of it's run on the original console with using an EverDrive for practice.
Yes.
Alrighty. Headed right through. Now, this map is massive. you know, just even looking at what they've gone through now, it's really interesting in that 16-bit era that they were able to come up and program something like this. Just the thought that went into it is phenomenal to me.
Oh yeah, I wonder how the devs feel like people run through this game in like 28 minutes in-game time and 45 seconds. Well, they planned them to run it pretty quickly to get the special ending if you beat it. I believe it's under an hour and a half.
What's the special ending?
It's basically Samus in her complete suit. Well, I guess it would be her underwear bikini for this one and all the other ones. Is if you beat the game fast enough, more of her armor is revealing.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
That's what the old, oh man, Samus is a girl kind of thing that they try to throw in there as a little ending to surprise you.
That's fair. See, now, a lot of people that would play this game, I would assume, are in the early 90s. Google wasn't prevalent. There wasn't video game guides other than what you could buy in the store and Nintendo Power. So I imagine going through this, 25, 30 years ago, trying to figure this out. What do you think, on average, it would take someone to complete this game without these speedrun strats?
If they're playing casually and a reasonable maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, it would take them probably weeks, depending on how good they are. Me, I can beat it within a day or two. That's not just sitting there all day. Just if I didn't, when I was a kid, I just played when I got home. When I first beat it, it probably took me a few days, maybe, and now I can beat it in a few hours if I just sit there and play.
Really interesting story. Um, Watching these runners go through, especially on a controller that has four buttons and a D-pad, is incredible to me.
I believe it's 8 buttons. You're getting to start, select L and R.
Oh, yep, you're right. I was thinking of only the A, B, and X, Y buttons on the Super Nintendo, but still, running a 16-bit game like that. Now, I just noticed ARealCutie kind of taking damage there and just shooting across the map. What is that about? Do you know anything
That was,
about?
it's to help them get across. It helps. Actually saves a few frames, I believe. If you have, they do it if they have enough HP or they're comfortable with low HP. Is they'll jump, turn as soon as they take damage, and shoot across, just like Acute did again. This right there.
Alrighty.
It's just faster movement. Think of like Mario jump diving and rolling out of his dash or his dive.
Only he doesn't take damage. That would be horrid. Every time trying to go a little bit faster, taking that damage. All right, as we're going through, seems with the route variation again, I'm very noobish at this game. Seems with the route variation, you do have a pretty large equipment variation as well.
I believe the same equipment is gonna be, shown towards the end. I think the energy tank is what's gonna be different because it saves time to skip certain energy tanks while grabbing them, wastes a little time compared to what the other runner's doing.
And that's fair. Pushing through that door. Now, something interesting. Once both of the runners get to Mother Brain 2, we talked about that equipment difference. ARealCutie is going to have to do less hits on Mother Brain than robitalion is going to have to.
I think that might because you have more energy beam shots, like the Spazer charge. You might get the wave because I know they're both getting the ice shot, which is Robotalion's getting it right now. The more beams you have stacked onto you, it's the more damage amplifies to your damage, your regular beams and charge beams. I think the armor affects that a little bit as well too.
Now we see ARealCutie heading up to that boss fight.
If you didn't notice, right there when he did that shot, you see like a little X going around back and forth. That's what they call the X Vector shot. It's a charge beam with whatever spacer. I think it's the only which spacer you have for beam type you have on equipment.
Alrighty.
believe the Spazer is the one that does the X Factor move. It does a lot more damage than a regular shot. And I think a missile shot as well. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that.
Making it look easy, though, you know, both of these runners within just a few minutes of the world record. Definitely making it look easy.
Oh, yeah.
ARealCutie wrapping it up.
Hundreds of hours to try to do this.
That muscle memory that comes from speedrunning, for sure. Yeah, fun fact, that 41:18 that was achieved by Behemoth was only achieved about 2 months ago.
Really?
Not too bad. It's funny, you talked about at the beginning, do we save the animals or not? One of the rules for any percent, the last one is save the critters at your own discretion.
I think if you do that with world records, it's a little swag. That would be awesome. If someone got a world record with saving the animals.
A little bit of swag. ARealCutie pushed him through.
Trying to get that gravity armor. If you didn't know, the gravity armor lets you run through water at normal speed.
How many weapons are in Super Metroid? I mean, it's got to be a ton.
You think, but there's not really that many. There's rocket, super missile, power bomb. I'm not sure you can call it a grappling hook and a weapon, but I guess you consider it a weapon. You can kill certain monsters with it. X-ray, that's not really a weapon. Then there's the 4 beams, and then the regular weapons. So like 10, 11. You get the rainbow shot at the end. I just want to count charge shots as a weapon too. That adds more.
Now, this particular category that's being ran right now, a large amount of people are on the leaderboards for this. Looks like 751 entries, ranging from, of course, the world record of 41:18 all the way to 10 hours and 2 minutes. Definitely a wide variety, but it looks like you're not even in top 100 until you get sub 49, around sub 49. So super competitive, very optimized. In-game timer of 28 minutes and 0 seconds. Real time.
Low 48:38 seconds to get at least top 100. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy, to be honest. Now, I've noticed that we were talking about if it's run on emulator. Looks like all of the top runners all run on SNES. Robitalion, we're going to come up with this fun fact, actually running on the SNES Classic. Just PB'd a few days ago with that 43:53 in-game timer of 30 minutes.
Wow. I didn't think it actually ran that fast compared to SNES. It's good to know. I think only certain games, though, I believe. Ooh. Got stuck in the mouth. That wastes a few seconds. That's what they really try to avoid, is not to get caught in that plant mouth.
Super Metroid, definitely one of those staple games for the SNES. Ran quite a bit. Now, a lot of these enemies I've noticed are kind of bypassed much easier than to kill them, unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, most of them just avoid them. It takes too long. They take too many shots, and you have to waste a lot of power ammo to kill them quickly.
As with any platformer game running through, could you imagine having to kill every Goomba?
Mario 64, that'd be terrible. You have to kill every Goomba to get the boss or the star to spawn every time.
Hey, GSA, we have a new idea for a meme category, SM60%. Let's make that happen.
let's get Cheese to start it so we actually get a competition going.
So taking the damage and able to kind of fall through the platform there, that's pretty cool.
I take it Robitalion is going for Ridley first right now. And here comes another quick boss to use the X Factor and missiles to get the quick kill on the ARealCutie screen, which, oh, he just barely missed it. I think it's his Drago boss. If you do an X Factor and get enough super missiles, you can kill him before he gets inside one of those holes, and it saves not sure how much time, but it's pretty smallish, I guess. But if you all runners on the same screen and you get it before them and they don't, it saves a lot of time compared to the other games.
The winner of this particular match will head on to round 2. ARealCutie is the 8th seed. Robitalion is the 9th seed. That's kind of where I want to be perfectly honest.
Now we're in the Ridley fight over there in Robitalion screen. This is a scary fight because Ridley does a lot of damage if you're not careful. So what he's doing now is staying close to the edges to dodge his tail damage, which he can just shoot into him. I believe it's like 90 shots without the certain enough super missiles.
Quite a few shots. As we are approaching this halfway mark, I do want to talk one more time about the sponsor for this GSA Super Metroid Any Tournament, Vi.gg. Vi.gg provides an opportunity to be able to bet on the outcomes of these runs, and there's been some really close runs across the board over this past week, having 2 of the SM64 times having to be retimed. So anybody's game at this point. I talked about the last stream, getting that extra taco box, that Domino's pizza, if you happen to win that bet. If you'd like to learn about betting, hit !bet or check out the link down in the panels below this stream. Take a look, check them out, as long as you're of legal age and it's legal in your country.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but we just missed 2 crazy kills right there. If you see the screen, he Shine Spark 2 times and almost instantly killed that boss. I forget that boss's name, but that is pretty hard to do pretty quickly and not die at the same time. And exactly as that happened, Robitalion just killed Ridley. That was excellent.
Pushing through, co-commentator educating other commentator, keeping the action going for sure.
Did we miss? There's a certain spark dash you do in the spot ARealCutie was at. I'm not sure if we missed it or he might have gotten it. He might have gotten it. It's a quick charge shot. You gotta save your charm spike and you get to jump just right to dodge a certain pixel which stops you. I forget what it's called. It's almost like Mario 64's Christmas Miracle, but they give it like a certain name.
Running through, speeding through this game. Both runners on excellent pace. I'm really interested to see, once these routes do converge, to see how close we are. Mother Brain 2 will be where these routes converge once again.
I believe they're making their way there right now. Because they killed all the major bosses already. Well, I think actually still needs to kill Ridley, if I'm correct.
Missing that jump. ARealCutie is going to have to get back up here. Now, give me kind of a backstory of Metroid. If you're a viewer just watching, this is your first speed run, not necessarily talking about the speed run, but the story of Samus in this game. I know you're incredibly familiar with that.
Samus is basically a bounty hunter. She used to work for the military of the Galactic Force, and eventually left on her own accord, became a bounty hunter, and now just goes around collecting bounties. And as soon as it takes place after the second game, they ask her to go destroy all the Metroids, and as she does that, a baby hatches, gives it to the Federation space colony, and leaves it, believing it was in her protection, though he'll keep care of it. And then Ridley comes, destroys it all, and they ask her to come. Well, they don't know at that point, but Ridley was the one that destroyed it. She comes there, finds Ridley, heads over to SSR3, and begins this little skedaddle again to find out that Mother Brain's alive, and basically she's come back to finish her job.
Cocom wrapping up that story with the skedaddle.
Wasn't a good one, but I tried. Oh, robitalion still had to kill Kraid.
Robitalion working on Kraid now
with the insta-kill.
Now, going back to remember, ARealCutie had a little bit of a struggle there. Robitalion able to knock out Kraid fairly quickly.
So I think now Robitalion's ready to go and go fight Mother Brain, I believe. Or it might be some other cleanup he has to do.
I believe Robitalion still has Ridley. If I'm not mistaken.
Robitalion killed Ridley already. That was before Kraid.
All right. Going through it again, just the memory. Super Mario 64. I can't remember who actually timed it out, but in a 70-star, you're only moving Mario like 24 minutes. Here, it seems like it's non-stop action, non-stop inputs, which leaves much more room for error, to be honest.
Yeah, the only time you get a non-stop is when you pick up an item, or I think it's very when you pick up an item, because even when you kill the bosses, you can go around. So basically, the items pickups in this game are equivalent to grabbing a star in Mario.
So when you're running, you're pretty much not taking that water break.
Nope. I believe both. Yeah, he has to go kill that boss and ask the boss if he got to kill the Drago. I believe he's not required, but I think he has a certain thing yet. The plasma gun, you have to go that way. Plasma being that ARealCutie got. And right there on Robitalion's screen, that's the quick kill to kill Drago.
Very quick. Now we can see with these route differences why the route that Robitalion is doing is a little bit quicker. Grabbing that energy tank now. Now, firing through as you're running through, does that increase your speed as well? Looks like ARealCutie kind of missing that clip at the end.
I think it just... if you time it just right, you just run through and not hit the wall. And you just, not wasting time, stopping full speed. Ooh, missed the second damage buff.
Right now, it looks like Robitalion is a little bit ahead of ARealCutie.
He still had to fight Ridley. I forgot about that. And he had no, bad game knowledge, folks. Bad game knowledge. Forgot these two bosses from both other people.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Robitalion, where he currently is, this will actually put him closer to Mother Brain than ARealCutie. I believe that's correct.
You have to travel a lot further where Ridley is. I think they're on the opposite side of the maps, I believe. And there's the quick kill. Oh, nope, he's almost dead on Robitalion. Smooth. And there we go. Oh, and he saved the Shine Spark. That color palette means right when he damaged and hit the ground, he saved his Shine Spark so he can Shine Spark out of this certain room that they're going to do, I believe.
Rolling through right now. Robitalion heading back up.
Yeah.
So, is that a timed move where they're dashing across the screen there?
Yes, you have a certain amount of time for your Shine Spark just dissipates, and you can't use it.
So that's kind of why they're running into the wall for a bit before going into the door, right?
I believe so. Like, yeah, they're shooting the door and just trying to get it so they don't stop their full momentum. Otherwise, their Shine Spark just stops.
Gotcha. Okay.
And another thing is, though, they got to take into account is the Shine Spark actually takes points of damage away the longer you use it. So they're also trying to get a certain distance where they're going to use enough of their energy and not die or get to like one hit death. With all that muscle memory, I'm sure they have it. You know, okay, I'm good. You know, they see the certain number and they're good to go.
Right. Zipping through now. Getting close to the end of this run, I still believe that Robitalion is ahead currently, just because of positioning.
So I think both runners are making their way to Mother Brain as we speak. Basically, whoever gets to the 4 statues first is pretty much in the lead.
Running through, you know, I see some enemies are killed, some are not. Is there any reason why?
I think certain enemies drop like health or rocket ammo and stuff that you might need on the way there. They have a higher RNG to drop in certain things. So they kill those and just ignore the others because it's out of the way.
That makes sense. Rolling on the river. ARealCutie headed up right now. Is definitely at this point behind Robitalion.
Robitalion's about to reach the statues, which unlocks the last area of the game where Mother Brain is sleeping.
I mean, how long does she need to sleep there, to be honest, if she hasn't been disturbed for so long?
Who knows? Not entirely sure of the timeline of like when the 1 and 2 or 3 happens, because I find it a bit confusing. Because in Metroid 1, you kill Mother Brain, Ridley, Kraid. In Metroid 3, they're alive again? Where's the consistency in that?
Chad, maybe you can kind of shed some light onto that for us for these very noob comps today for Super Metroid.
That's the one thing that always bothered me when playing Super Metroid. It's the third in the storyline, but both bosses that you kill come back.
ARealCutie desperately trying to make up a little bit of time here.
Now, before it comes up, but I think they're both gonna go for Metroid skip, which is the big baby Metroid or the small Metroid in the beginning of the game is now huge, and if it grabs you, it takes you all the way down to 1 HP. But there's a way they can manipulate it and dodge it and not worry about that cutscene. So I wonder if we're gonna see both of them get that.
Let's take a look. Runners chugging along. That muscle memory, you know, I'm interested to see. I don't know very much about the category extensions for this game, but I'm sure there's quite a few blind runs based upon that muscle memory. Now, is there a ton of RNG? I know you said some of the boss fights contain RNG. Is that pretty consistent, excuse me, throughout?
Yes.
Or
because I would even know where to start in a blind run of this game. Because if you're fighting Fatoon, I don't understand how you with RNG predict his movements, because he moves around at random places, and you don't know if he's gonna keep doing certain moves at the same time, like the quick wave of fire. He does that a number of times, and you're not sure how many times. You can do it once, twice, 10 times, I believe. And here comes the RNG. We'll manipulate the Metroid to open the pathway to skip it from grabbing you, which Robitalion got. Now, if you're playing with full HP, that would take forever for that cutscene to end. So it drains you down to 1 HP. Or energy. My bad.
Down to 1 energy. ARealCutie, just a few minutes behind now, still trying to catch up over Robitalion. Now, we saw the matchup earlier that Robitalion does have a better PB, but I think what have made the difference, just kind of being an outsider looking in, the route differences played a huge amount in this run for sure. ARealCutie playing a little bit safer than Robitalion, but Robitalion taking that risk and putting him ahead.
Yep, his route was a more risk intensive, risk reward, a high risk reward. Because if he would have died at the tune, his run would have been done.
Now, what's going on here with ARealCutie?
He's doing the same.
Waiting on the Metroid.
And he's gonna try to get the same skip as Robitalion did.
Let's see if ARealCutie can pull it off as well.
Ooh.
Got sucked up.
Luckily, they're playing on low energy, so it doesn't waste as much time. On the Robitalion screen, here's the onion rings, as the Metroid community likes to call. I think these are the potatoes.
The onion rings, the potatoes, a smorgasbord of food here at
I was thinking it's a meatball.
Mother Brain. Oh, meatball.
I-beam is a French fry.
Interesting dinner choices coming from Mother Brain. French
You know
fry, meatball, and onion rings.
They believe that's the ketchup. Not entirely sure. It's been a while since I've seen a whole ending run of AGDQ and stuff.
Cocom full of food analogies, talking about ketchup now, making me incredibly hungry.
You hungry? I'm hungry too, just thinking about that. And here's the final desperation shot for Mother Brain. I believe I died there once. I don't know how, but I think that can kill you. I'm not entirely 100% on that, but I believe I've died from Mother Brain.
Does it bring you down to like 0 energy?
I can't remember. I think I was low on health when I got here. And it does a certain amount. As you see, he's at 85. We'll see how much ARealCutie gets. But I believe if you don't have enough HP or energy, you can die. Not 100% sure.
If I had to guess, ARealCutie is probably on around 45 to 46 pace, with Robitalion probably mid 44, low 45 pace right now.
And here comes the saddest part of Metroid.
Now, we see here ARealCutie is going to have less shots to have to put on Mother Brain that we discussed earlier.
That is true. He's on the rainbow shot already, so he's not that far behind.
ARealCutie kind of commenting that never seen Mother Brain do that before.
Huh. Maybe he'll explain then at the end when we interview him. Now this is Samus Super Saiyan mode.
Super Saiyan Samus. That's a lot of S's.
It's not more than Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan.
Oh, that is more S's.
That's a mouthful.
And Robitalion knocking out Brain Mother, or Mother Brain, excuse me, Brain Mother.
And now we enter the escape. Maybe he'll go for a save the animals, a little swag.
A little swag movement at the end. Now, see, this is where, for me, I would have to have it printed off next to me, hand-drawn, post-it notes everywhere, go left, right, up, down, A, B, start select to try to get out of here, because I'm pretty sure I would die every time.
It's actually not that hard to escape out of it. It looks like it's hard. Maybe if you fall here at the getting up there and your time, it's like a minute, you might die. Otherwise, they actually give you plenty of time to get out of it. Unless you're a speedrunner and then they have enough time. You can get to your ship, make some tea, get a snack.
Make some tea, relax, choke back those Doritos just a little bit. Yeah, I get that for sure.
And he opt out to save the animals. Run invalid.
Run invalidated for not saving the animals. Jumping in the ship, 44-23. A solid performance from robitalion.
Actually, that's... No, he has a 43. Never mind. I thought that was a 43.
As ARealCutie is kind of wrapping up here, I do want to mention one last time, vi.gg. If you would have put all of those chips, all of the potatoes, all of the meatballs, all of the french fries onto robitalion for this match, you would have won the clear favor for this particular match. Vi.gg. Check him out. If you use the link down in the panels, it will bring you to a special offer. I believe it's like 20 euros towards your first recouping that after a loss. Really, really good stuff. Check it out as long as you're of legal betting age, gambling age, and it is legal to do in your country.
So are we staying here for the Deer Forest like every other AGDQ or any GDQ event?
I don't think so. Right now, twitch.tv/speedrun running a little bit behind today.
Oh, look at this. The cute. Oh, the tease. The tease. You thought about it. Nah, I don't got time. My tea's getting cold.
Getting that sub 46. Still a solid run out of ARealCutie for sure. Great run from both of these runners. Still non-stop action coming today on twitch.tv/speedrun, sponsored by vi.gg and GSA. Kuro, thank you so much for being by my side, educating me, educating the viewers as to what's going on. Going to be a lot of Super Metroid stuff coming up in the next week. Be sure to check out ! Schedule to check that schedule. ! Bracket to see who's in the bracket. As we'll see robitalion head continue on through that winner's bracket. ARealCutie heading downstairs, but still not bad at all, headed to that loser bracket. We're going to be rolling right here in just a moment, headed towards an intermission before we see the battle of the century. Paracusia will be in this match coming up against K-Tane Noob. I mean, it's going to be a great match. Phenomenal 70-star tournament, also sponsored by .gg. Kuro, thanks so much for coming in clutch for us. I appreciate it, and looking forward to commentate with you shortly.
Yeah, no problem. It was actually pretty fun doing this. I like to do it more. Probably little brush up on some more Super Metroid, little trivia and some speedruns, rats, and for any future times you guys need me.
Sounds good to me. GG once again to robitalion. Thank you very much. Stick around. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with that 70-star tournament action. See you here in just a bit.